Hello all and welcome to Wild Crochet yet again for another tutorial. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on this border of the blanket. It is our final border row. Yay! Now having a look at this border. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. It looks very intricate, it looks difficult, but it is very basic. Now yours truly, if you remember, we did a whole lot of joining stitches together in this particular 2 rows beforehand, so a lot of the numbers don't add up and I struggled to get everything to line up. So what I did in the end, which I thought was so much easier, was finding the point to that circle and popping a stitch marker there, finding the point to that circle as close as you can, popping a stitch marker there, finding the point to that one, popping a stitch marker there. Now I'll explain that in the tutorial itself, and you will notice that you've got larger picot and smaller ones, and larger ones and smaller ones, and again I will explain that in the tutorial itself as well. Gorgeous! For this tutorial I'm so excited because I know it's the end. You will need your hook that you used to start your whole project with. You will need plenty of green yarn, you will need your scissors, you will need your sewing needle, and you will need a gazillion stitch markers. Okay, but not really. You can use threads, you can use paper clips, you can use anything you like. So you will actually need these stitch markers or at least some sort of thread to pop in here. Okay, it's a little unorthodox the way I've done the border, but it does work. As you can see how gorgeous it is. I will have some photos at the end of the tutorial so you can have a good look-see, and don't forget to join me on Saturdays live so that we can talk about our border rows and what is going to happen for Wild Crochet in the next few weeks. Going to be very exciting, guys. Stick around and enjoy this tutorial. Thanks for watching and good luck, guys. Alright, where to begin? Okay, best bit is to begin. We actually want to start from a half hexagon, but the best thing I thought of was I actually finished off at the last half hexagon. Now you guys know me well, I don't usually start in a place where I finished off, but as for today I might just do that, and I'm going to start with the stitch that I slip stitched into right there. Okay, this row, very basic. We have 3 rows to this border, but this particular row here is very basic. I think you're going to get it within the first 2 stitches, and then I think after that you can head off on your own, literally the first 2 stitches. So we are chaining, oh sorry, too far away. We are chaining 1, we are popping a single crochet in that first stitch, same stitch, sorry. And then you're doing a single crochet in your next, and as you can see I'm crocheting over my tail end, but we're going to weave that in as well because yes, you remember that I'm a stickler. And single crochet in your next. Funnily enough, we're going to do the same all the way across. Basic so far. I know, too easy, too easy. This is the preparation for the final 2 rows of your border, and guess what, guys, we're going to finish those final 2 rows in this tutorial. Very exciting. Pop that thread at the back now, we've gone over it a gazillion times, and just keep doing your single crochets all the way across. All right, so go ahead, do your single crochets, meet me back here when you get to your very last single crochet, and get ready for your border rows. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of the row. Very excited now. Very, very excited. Okay. Nice little close-up so we can finish up. Now yours truly, my stitches are really tight and close together there, but I think I can manage, there we go, to put it in the last stitch there. Alright, there, and then we slip stitch over to the very top single crochet that we did in the beginning. Okay, just chain up a loop for a minute so we can have a quick chat. All right, so what you have is a full row of single crochets. Now here's where it gets a little interesting, and you will need some sort of stitch markers. You can use thread, you can use bobby pins, whatever, but we need to have different sizes. Now when I first started making the border for this blanket, and I did it over and over again 4, 5, 6 different times, nothing added up. Okay, so what I thought I would do instead was to grab large stitch markers, pop them on top of your green one first. See your green right in the middle there? There's your green. Oh, so I'm going to get close up, sorry. There's your green. There's your middle of those stitches. You just go all the way up. No counting involved. Just go up, get it as close to the center of that section right there. As close to the center as you can, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. Then you get a smaller stitch marker, and you do that for your half hexagon. So you get to see that center right there, you just go up, get as close to the center as you can, and you may have to really check that one, and I'll show you why in a minute, with a smaller one. Then with your next color, you put a larger one, all right? And with your next color, you put a small one. Okay, so as you saw in the promo, just rough, roughly in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, as you saw in the promo, you had the large, let's try that again, sorry. You had the large, small, and large cluster sets, right? If we were to count in between, they wouldn't add up in certain sections because we did a lot of join as you go, a join in between, just to close a lot of the stitches up so that it wouldn't look wobbly, okay? So what I decided to do was do it this way. And in between each one of these cluster sets, you are just doing single crochets. Now let me show you, I did part of the blanket on the side, just to show you what it looks like. All right, the large one is in the middle of your green hexagon. The small one is in the middle of your half hexagon. The large one is in the middle of your first full hexagon. And then the small one is in the middle of your next hexagon. Now, we're going to do the first row anyway, so you'll know what I mean. But what I want you to do for now is to do just that. Pop large stitch markers in your green. No, actually don't do that yet. I'll start you off and then I'll show you exactly what to do with your stitch markers, all right? So in the meantime, this is where we ended up. Okay, right there. So we're not even doing our green yet. I'm sorry, I keep going out of frame. We're not even doing our green yet. We're heading on to our first half hexie, which is a small cluster set. All right, so no point counting. All you need to do is once you've put your stitch marker in your where you want it to roughly go, then you count 3 stitches backwards, and I'll show you what I mean by that. In the meantime, start your single crochet in the same space as you just joined, all right? So single crochet in your next and your next. Get as close to your stitch marker as you can. You need to be 3 stitches away from your stitch marker, your very first stitch marker, which is your half hexagon. Okay, it's very basic, no counting. Okay, now in your third stitch, which is there, your stitch marker, in fact you can take a stitch marker out now, chain 1, the blanket's falling all over the place, sorry guys. So chain 1, which you've done, and you're going to do normal doubles in this section. So you skip 1, 2, and in your third stitch you put a double crochet, chain 1, and you do it again 4 more times. Chain 1, 3, chain 1, 4. So you have to have 5 of them in that space right there. Chain 1. All right, so that's pretty much what you have. So you have like a gap there. Okay, let me just, oh, the blanket keeps falling off the table, sorry guys. This is funny. All right, so we're skipping 1, 2, and in that third one you are putting your single crochet, and then single crochet all the way to your next stitch marker, which is the center of your very next hexagon. Okay. All the way across to your next hexagon. Now the next one we do is going to be a large cluster set, so we'll be using trebles in the next one. So we did doubles in that first set. Whoops, and because we're doing trebles, we need 5 single crochets off. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so get yourself organized where you are. 5 single crochets off your stitch marker. Take your stitch marker out. All right, so now we're going to work on our treble. So it's chain 1. Treble is yarn over your hook twice. Okay, we've done that before in our hexagons as well. So yarn over your hook twice, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pop in your first treble. Chain 1. Now you're going to put 7 trebles all together in that space. Okay, so you've got 1, and you're chaining 1 in between each treble. So here's your second one. Chain 1. I'm sorry, I'm going too fast. I do apologise. Your third. Slow down just that little bit. Chain 1. Fourth. Chain 1. And fifth. Chain 1. 6. Chain 1 and 7. Chain 1. Skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and in your 5th one you pop a single crochet, and then just keep going and stop for one moment because I wanted to show you exactly what we did. Alright, so initially what you've done, just so that you're not getting confused, we haven't got to that green yet because we started on the half hexie. When you get to that green, you'll be doing a large cluster set. Your half hexie is your small cluster set. Your next hexagon is your large. Your second, or you should say last hexagon, will be a small one. Then you get to your green, you got your large. So really it's large, small, large, small, large, small, large, small, all the way in the round. If you were to count the stitches in between here, some of them would not add up. And that was the problem that I was having when I was trying to sort the border out for you. So that we don't have to worry about count, all you need to do is pop your stitch markers just above the points of your hexies, right in the middle of each hexie, and then you'll know exactly how to go back. I'll do the first cluster set for you, or the second cluster set, so you'll know. I should say the second block, so you'll know. When you get to a small cluster, you go back 3. When you get to a large cluster, you go back 5. So I'll show you again, so you know what I mean. All right. So now I've got a small stitch marker and a large one. So my next one will be a small cluster set. All right. Okay, so we're not counting any of these single crochets that we're doing. We're just doing them all the way across until we get to that small stitch marker, which we count back by 3. All right, there's our small stitch marker. So if we were to count 1, 2, 3, no, we need to do one more. All right, so we go 1, 2, and 3. And that is where we start our double crochets. But before we do, take your stitch marker out, you chain 1. Then you do your first double crochet, 1, 2, and in that third one right there. I'm sorry about all this. The blanket is far too big for me now, guys, so I'm fighting with it to keep it on the table. So you're chaining 1 and you're doing 5 all together. So chain 1 and 5 double crochets. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and I'm chaining 1, and I'm doing my 4th, chain 1, and my 5th, chain 1, and then I skip 1, 2, and in my third one I'm popping a single crochet. Okay, and then single crochet all the way across until I get to my next stitch marker, or 5 stitches off my next stitch marker, because that's going to be a larger cluster set. So if you remember, each section, one's large and the next one's small. You can't go wrong with that. All right, it's easy, easy, easy. All right, here we go. There, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, oops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's your 5th one. I didn't put that in the stitch properly, but it's right there. So you are chaining 1, and then you're doing your trebles in this one. So your treble goes in there. I really should take that stitch marker out, shouldn't I? Take your stitch markers out, guys. I'm a duffer. There you go. So there's your treble. And you're doing 7 trebles altogether. So chain 1 and a treble in between each chain, or a chain in between each treble, I should say. Chain 1, treble 3, chain 1, treble 4, chain 1, treble 5, chain 1, treble 6, chain 1, treble 7, chain 1, 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Always count them, okay? Again, you don't have to worry about counting your single crochets in between, but you do have to worry about counting your cluster sets, all right? So skip 1, 2, 3, 4 and pop a single crochet in your 5th one, and in your single crocheting until you get to your next set. So it's really, really quite basic, all right? I'm going to hold it there, and so you get it. I'll just show you quickly. There's your, whoops, there's your small, or say your small, large, small, large, small, large, all the way through. You can't go wrong. Remember, 3 single crochets before, 5 single crochets before the larger ones. Don't forget to chain 1 before you hop into your cluster sets. All right, so go ahead and do that. When you get to this last cluster set, do the cluster set and wait for me there, okay? All right, guys, so I got to the end of the row. I did my very last large cluster set on top of that green just before the end of the row. And that's where I started from. So I did manage to do the large cluster set. I skipped my 5 and then I went single crochet 1, 2, and I think I've got another one before the start of the next row. Right there. I'm sorry, I'll give you a close up. There we go. Now we're going to pop our hook in the very, very top stitch there. And we're going to pull our loop through like so and join up thread. Okay. Now we chain up 1. Again, easy, single crochet in your first stitch. Very, very easy. This is your last row, guys, your final row. Get excited. So we're going to single crochet until we get to that very first cluster set. Okay, no counting. What a bonus. Well, kind of. When you get to the cluster set, you'll have to count, sorry. But not now, not in between, no, not at all. Okay, so here we are at the cluster set. We've got 1 stitch there right before the set. Okay, there. Now you've got your cluster set. What you're going to do is you're going to put double crochets in there. So double crochet in the first space, 1. Double crochet in your stitch, 2. Double in your next space, 3. Double in your stitch, 4. Stop where you are. Now remember the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to put 2 double crochets in the center. So you've done 4 there. If you think about it and you have to come all the way down, you've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that you need more, okay? So you do a double crochet in your space. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, this is a stitch where we are going to put our 2 double crochets, and we're also going to pop a picot in there as well. So the first thing you do is you pop your double crochet in, the first one. Now you do a picot, and a picot is chain 1, 2 and 3. Hold it there, I'll give you a nice close up so you can see. And there is your stitch right there. You are popping your hook in those 2 loops, 2 side loops they are. Pull a loop through and pull it through the loop on your hook. Don't worry, I'll show you again. But in the meantime, you're going to put another double crochet in the same space. So you're popping 2 double crochets in there. Now you pop a normal double crochet in your space, 1 in your stitch, 1 in your space, 1 in your stitch, and you're going to pop 1 in your space before, so you pop 1 in the space right there, and then you're going to drop down and pop single crochets in your single crochets across. Okay, and I'll show you what you've done. Give me 1 second to get another one in. The blanket is pulling now, guys. That's why I'm struggling to make that row. All right, there you go. Okay, easy, easy. Look at that. I know. Gorgeous. And what that extra double crochet in there has done is actually stretched it out for you, so this won't pull so much later. Your single crochets won't pull so much, okay? So that extra stitch has given it a kick on the end to give it a pull across. But see the picot? Gorgeous. Now when you get to the smaller ones, when you get to the larger ones, you're going to do exactly the same. And what you'll do is you will pop 1, 2, 3, and you'll do that, what you did there, in that 4th one in the middle there. But we're going to do it together anyway. Just wanted to show you the first one. All right, so you're single crocheting to your next set. And the best part is it's a repeat, this row. So you don't have to sit there and watch me do it all over again. But just for this next section, I wanted to show you this part here because it's a larger section. You're doing pretty much exactly the same. So double crochet in your space, 1. Yes. Double crochet in the stitch, 2. All right. Space, 1, 2. And so on until you get to your 4th treble. Okay. It's super easy, and I try to keep it as easy as possible. I think we're there. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are going to put a double crochet in that treble right there, chain 1, 2 and 3. I've almost forgot how to do a picot then. And then you pop your hook down those 2 side stitches, pull the loop up, pull it through the loop on your hook, do another double crochet in that stitch. Then you double crochet in the space, then you double crochet in your next stitch, then in your space, then in your next stitch, in your space, in your next stitch, and again in that space before you get to your single crochets. So there's your space. Now there's your single crochet, your very first one. You need to do a single crochet in there, and again single crochets across. This is super easy, this border. You know, I made such a mess with count when I was trying to count, and I couldn't work out how to do it, and there you go. See, your border row shows, even though that looks really tall there, get out in the dark, even though that looks really tall, that one there, this one here is still so much taller, okay, and you can see more gaps through it, you can see less gaps through that, but gorgeous. So that's your small, that's your large, small, large, small, large, all the way through until you get to here, large, small, large, and then we'll get to here and meet me up there and get ready for what's going to happen next. Yay, very exciting. Ta-da! Welcome back. That took us forever. Now, don't forget, before you continue this next part, make sure that every one of your, how gorgeous does it look? Every one of your peaks have a picot on it. If you didn't do the picots, that's fine. Just make sure that every one of your peaks are peaking, if that makes sense. All right, so now what you're going to do, very, very basic this part. I think I got up to just single crocheting across. I think it was my second last stitch. And then you've got a second one, or very last one right there. And then get ready, guys, because see that little tight stitch right there that yours truly always tends to have. Loop through like so. Pull up a loop. Now before you cut, check your work. And if you're really worried, leave a nice long tail so that you can actually play with that if something is wrong. Because get ready for this, guys. You are finito. Gorgeous. Don't we love, love, love? It does need a good washing and blocking again. Yes, guys, again. You could probably get away without doing it, but I would do that just to get rid of all these little bubbles that you see, these pulling and the tugging and all that jazz. But there you go. You have finished a blanket. Don't forget, guys, if you haven't done this blanket, but you watch this tutorial and you would like to make this blanket, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description box down below. All you need to do is start from the very top tutorial in that playlist and then just work your way all the way down to the border rows. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to join me this Saturday live, which is actually tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock Melbourne, Australia time. And we will talk about this blanket and what we are going to do next, guys. I'm very happy. You can probably hear the smile in the background. I don't know if you understand that. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for having fun with this blanket. I really enjoyed it. I hope you like it too. And stick around, there'll be some photos towards the end. Thank you so much for watching. And guess what, guys? Ciao for now, for the last time for this blanket. Yay! Ciao for now.